are going to be worth your money, etc, etc. In this video, I want to highlight 4 games that I think are going to be worthwhile to buy day one, and then we also have quite a few games that I think you're going to be better off waiting on a sale for. One of them, I think there's going to be a little bit of debate on why I put it on the wait for a sale category, but we'll get to that. Again, 4 on the buy category, and then we've got 5 in the wait for a sale. So right off the top, and this might be controversial for me to say buy on this, but let me know what you guys think. I think the Dead Space remake is going to be a buy, and I know it might sound a little bit hypocritical given that I was very much against The Last of Us Part 1 being $70, and that game was absolutely a wait for a sale, and a lot of people agreed with me on that fact, that $70 for The Last of Us Part 1 was egregious, but the fact is, Dead Space came out all the way back in 2008, and we didn't get an upgraded release like we did with The Last of Us on PS4. A lot of people bought The Last of Us twice already prior to Part 1. You're talking the PlayStation 3 release in 2013, the PlayStation 4 release, and then, you know, you're asking for $70 for another release after that. That's why I would say wait on a sale for this. Dead Space, on the other hand, came out all the way back in 08. It's been, you know, close to 15 years, at least over 14 years. And you're talking about a franchise that I think a lot of people want to see back in the limelight, and we know that Dead Space 1 was a tremendous game, and this is a full-on ground-up remake for a game that I do think could use it. Now, Dead Space, if you go back and you play it, maybe you can say it holds up relatively well, but the fact is, if you're on a PlayStation platform, you're not even going to play it, given that there's no way to play it. There is no remaster, there is no PlayStation 4 release, and God knows there is no PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility, so this remake is going to be your best bet, and I hope it does do well from a commercial standpoint to make EA realize, hey, Dead Space is a franchise that definitely has a market and they can do more with it. I don't know if that means they do a Dead Space 2 remake. I don't know if that means they go with a Dead Space 4. I don't know if this starts a sequence of, like, a new storyline within Dead Space. Whatever they want to do, more Dead Space is going to be a good thing. Now, you could say that $70 for a game that is primarily a one playthrough single player campaign. One playthrough might be a little bit debated, but nonetheless, you know, if you're the kind of person that has a hefty backlog and you don't mind a game that's a little bit on the shorter side, I think Dead Space Remake is going to be well worth it. It's just, you know, $70. If you're just looking at it from dollar per content, per hour of content, let's say, that might be a little bit, you know, of a wait for sale. So know what you're getting yourself into with this. Yes, it's $70. Yes, it's probably going to be a 10-hour experience, a 10 to 12-hour experience, but, you know, I think quality over quantity when it comes to Dead Space, and I think quality is going to be at the utmost peak with this one. Speaking of which, now on the opposite side of the spectrum, in terms of games that are being released on a budget side of things and going to offer you a lot of content, look, I think Persona 3 and Persona 4 are both buys. Given the fact that they're being released at $19.99, you can make the argument, hey, Persona 3 is the portable release, maybe that's one you skip out on for now, but even then, P3 Portable isn't bad. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's a more streamlined experience. It obviously was designed for the PSP, so that's what you have to go into it knowing. And it's still really good, and there's some aspects that P3 has over FES. Obviously, I would have liked to get FES. FES is the version that I think everybody wanted, but we got to take what we can get, and Persona 3 Portable, the fact is, it's being released at $19.99, which I think is a very, very good price point, and it's still a fantastic game. To a lot of people, Persona 3 is the best. You can make an argument on P3, P4, or P5 being the best, and then you got Persona 4 Golden. For 20 bucks, this is just a slam dunk no-brainer, and the fact is, this came out on Steam, I want to say, back in June of 2021, somewhere around there, and it's a game that still holds up in price. Like, you'll see a 30% off discount, but nothing too steep, and you're talking about 18 months after its initial release. Persona 4 is a tremendous game, and the Golden release, yes, while it was released on the PlayStation Vita could handle the entirety of a PlayStation 2 game and expand upon that as well. So, Persona 4, this is the version to play, and Persona 4 is a tremendous game, a great cast of characters, mystery to the story, great soundtrack, that boss battle theme, chef's kiss on that one, and 20 bucks for this is going to be a no-brainer, so I would say give this a shout as well. And then Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is getting a free upgrade. With that, it is being released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series with a new release at $19.99. I think that's a pretty good price. I would say, you know, if you have the PS4 release, get that on the cheap and then you can upgrade that, or if you already own the game, you're gonna get a free upgrade. The alternative aspect is that you could wait for, like, the complete edition. I would imagine that Bandai Namco is eventually gonna release the super duper complete edition that has both season passes and all the content included, and that might be the route to go, but 20 bucks, if you just assess what you get out of DBZ Kakarot, that's a really good price point for a game that I think is gonna play and look pretty damn good on the PS5. I've talked a lot about DBZ Kakarot. It's a good game. There are some elements of the story that were cut out that's a little bit jarring, but for the most part, it's a good retelling of the entire Dragon Ball narrative arc, and you got the Frieza Saga, the Cell Saga, and then the Boo Saga. I'm not big on the Boo Saga. I kind of hated the Boo Saga, to be honest. Outside of, like, some cool stuff like Gotenks and whatnot, I thought the Boo Saga was hella memes, but nonetheless, the Season Pass content is pretty decent. You've got the first season. That includes some Super content, some of the stuff from DB Super. I'm not big into DB Super, but nonetheless, as I say that, I've watched both DB Super movies. But nonetheless, it also has the Future Trunks story arc, you know, the alternate timeline Trunks where the androids attack and all that stuff. For Season Pass 2, the first piece of DLC is Bardock Alone Against Fate, I believe it's called. It's the Bardock story, so that's gonna be pretty cool, and that's content that I think if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, you definitely want to take a part of. Again, that's DLC content, so take that into account. But nonetheless, given the fact it's going to be seeing a $20 release, I think this is a good buy. If you do have it on PS4, it's a free upgrade, so that's great as well. Alright, now, let's get into the wait for a sale category. Forspoken. Let's just be real here. $70 for this game. Play the demo. Make your decision after that. After playing the demo, I could, personally speaking, I foresee this game not doing amazing at the box office, this game not crushing it from a sales standpoint, and it ultimately going on sale fairly quickly. Now, to be fair, big budget Square Enix titles have a tendency to hold up in price point. You look at games like your FF7 remakes, that's a game that held up in price for quite a while, but this is a $70 game, it's a new IP, Luminous Production. While technically speaking, they create some juggernaut of titles. Forspoken is a game that I think ultimately is not going to do very well from a sales standpoint. I think a lot of people, anecdotally speaking, just based on what I've been hearing, a lot of people were turned off by the demo, so that's just my 2 cents on that. I think ultimately this is a game that you should pick up at like $40, and I don't think you're going to have to wait too long to get to that price point. I foresee if we compare Forspoken and Dead Space Remake, both being $70 releases, I foresee Forspoken being the one that gets on sale quicker, even though in history, EA titles go on sale quicker than Square Enix games. Like, look at Need for Speed Unbound. That game went to $40 like really, really quickly, but you know, I foresee Forspoken being the game that does get cheaper quicker. I might be wrong about that, but again, play the demo, and then that's gonna be your ultimate deciding factor more than anything else. Check out the demo, see if you like it, and if you do, maybe it's one you pick up day one at 70 bucks. If not, you know, keep it on the wish list, pick it up down the line on a sale. Next up, Monster Hunter Rise. Again, this is the one that I think is a little controversial. I think a lot of people are going to be like, bro, it's Monster Hunter Rise, you're going to spend like 100 hours on this game, buy it day one. Problem is, this game is a couple of years old, and it's just a re-release of the Switch release. Like, it's not Dead Space where it's a full-on remake, and it's being released at $60, and it's a digital-only release. I think if it was $40, I would say, you know, buy all day long. But the fact is, it's $60, and then in spring, they're also putting out Monster Hunter Sunbreak, so you're talking about spending a lot of bread on the full Rise experience. When this is a game on Switch you can get cheap, and it's a game on PC you can get pretty cheap as well. I mean, you can get Rise and Sunbreak in a bundle pack on PC on sale for well under $60 usually, I believe. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. Do you want to pay 60 bucks on Rise and then pay $40 on Sunbreak, or do you ultimately want to wait a couple months, see if they do a bundle for both of them, and then wait for that to go on sale, and you can probably end up getting a pretty good discount on it. I expect the game to run really well on the PlayStation 5, but and on the PS4 to be frank, but yeah, I would say wait on a sale for that one. Again, given that it's a couple years old at this point, it's gonna be a quality release. Monster Hunter Rise is a really, really solid game, but yeah, 60 bucks, digital only release, that's a little bit too much for me. Next up, SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. Obviously, if you're nostalgic for SpongeBob, you're gonna enjoy this game. I think a lot of people enjoyed Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, I think was the title, and I enjoyed it as well, but I have a lot of nostalgia for SpongeBob. If you actually, like, assess that game as a platformer, it's like a okay game. It's not a blowaway, and I expect the same out of Cosmic Shake. THQ games don't hold up in price for that long, so, you know, I foresee 20 bucks by summertime, no problem with the Cosmic Shake. That's just my opinion on that. Next up, One Piece Odyssey, $60 release. It's a JRPG. Anime games, especially anime games that are trying to go in a different direction. Like, we saw all the One Piece Musou games, and those were alright. Now you got a One Piece JRPG, and you gotta be a little bit on the fence on it. I know, you know, maybe I'm being a little bit more on the fence about it because I'm not a big One Piece fan. Like, let's be real. If they did a Naruto game that was a JRPG like this, oh, hell yeah, I'd be all into it. But, you know, that would be my bias talking. But if you're a One Piece fan, you're probably super excited for this. I'm gonna be checking this game out. It's just 60 bucks for an anime JRPG. You gotta be a little bit on the fence on that. And Bandai Namco games do go on sale, unless it's a Souls title. Like, the Souls games, they'll just hold up in price. But outside of that, like, Tales of Arise went on sale, Scarlet Nexus went on sale. Those games go on sale, and One Piece Odyssey I don't think will be any different. And then lastly, another RPG, Risen, is coming to PS4. Risen's a pretty decent RPG. It's a little bit of a dated game. I believe it is coming at $19.99, so that's a pretty good price point, all things considered. It's going to be upgraded for PS4, but again, I foresee this game either hitting like PS Plus Extra or just going on sale fairly quickly. I believe it's going to see a physical release as well, so bear that in mind on top of that. But yeah, that is a game I would say keep on your radar. It's not going to hold up to like the big budget RPGs these days, but if you want a bit of a throwback, Risen is something you should have on your radar. But that is going to do it for me. Again, I plan on keeping this series going just because we have so many games coming out right now, and yeah, the next couple months is going to be a pretty notable time if you do not want to go broke and spend all your money on video games. Like, I'll be doing that because, you know, we got to cover these games on the channel, but nonetheless, for the average person, you know, pick and choose, pick your spots. You guys got a crazy backlog already, I know you guys do, and you know, if you're picking up a Persona 4, bear in mind, that's a lengthy game. Like, do you want to pick up Persona 3 alongside that? That is something you're gonna have to juggle. Same thing with, like, DBZ Kakarot. Dead Space Remake, that's a game you can get in, have a good time with, and then, you know, move on with your backlog. But, yeah, pick and choose your spots as far as games coming up is concerned. That is my 2 cents as far as that's concerned. But that is gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, this is just a guideline, suggestions, and how I would